After submedians in Unit 3 come medians. That's 3 chords. I'm really just talking about the use of 3 in majors. That'll be a minor 3. Here I'm dealing with C. I'd like to just show you a couple ways in which you encounter these. Here's the main way, I mean by far the most common one and the one to remember and use. You're coming from a 1, you've got a melody that does this. Now that's odd because here's a leading tone and it goes down. Leading tones generally go up. The way to harmonize a melody that steps down, one way to do it, and a very typical one, is to put a 3 chord in here. And generally moves to a 4. In this context, that 3 is keeping the tonic going. Let's look at its content. Maybe this will be a predominant, who knows. Let's make it plagal and say we go back to a 1. Okay, so take a look at the content here. C, G, going to E, G, B. It's 1 note off. It almost sounds like it's maybe not even its own chord. It's just a passing tone. With this in the bass, it's very much like you've got a passing tone going on at the same time as it changed to a 1/6. You can think of the 3 then as a stand-in, a substitute. If you want to, you could put the little S on this one as well and say tonic substitute. It's doing a tonic's job, but it's not the tonic. Most time we just say this though because it does sound so tonic-like. It's just because of one change, that B in the soprano. Whenever you have stepwise root motion, this is 3 to 4 up a step, the bass has to go up, but if you can take everybody else down, kind of like when you do this, deceptive motion, you're moving by step. The bass goes up, so we took everything up top, all the upper parts down. You're wedging together. In this case, we're doing the same. We're moving up by step here, so we're going to take all these down. Very similar kind of situation. Avoid the parallels that come by using contrary motion. Everybody in contrary motion with the bass. Avoids, it covers a multitude of sins, contrary motion. Okay, so in this case, we've got tonic prolonged. It's doing a tonic function. And just to bring us back to the chord wheel for one moment, put a 1 up on top of this. And let's put 5 over on this side and 4 on this side. So here's our chord wheel. Now, we've explored this relationship, how 6 is in a bridge, can serve as a bridge between these 2 primary chords, 1 and 4. Now we're on this side, and we've noticed that the 3 chord can do what a tonic does. So it belongs over here in this category of chords that potentially can do tonic function, can serve a tonic function. Now I'd like to look at an example where it really belongs over here, dominant. This continues on around 7 up here, so I'll just fill that in. But it's got a dual alliance. It has some common tones with the 1, 2 common tones with the 1, and it has 2 common tones with the 5 chord. Now, we would probably write 5 and say add 6 for this chord. But because we're used to using the add 6 for styles, early 20th century popular song, Broadway musicals, our jazz standards of today, they use this symbol a lot, so we're used to it. But if you wanted to just say, now wait a minute, what's the content here? E, G, and B covers it. That's an E minor chord. So in an earlier style, you'd have to say something like this. Now that inversion of it and the doubling of the G puts some weight toward the dominant. This is like 5-1 motion in the bass. I'm gonna write dominant tonic for that reason. Here, in this first example, it's like a 1/6 because you've got scale degree 3 in the bass. But here with scale degree 5 and given its motion in the bass from 5 to 1, it sounds more dominant-like. Notice the doubling of that G gives it even more emphasis. It gives G emphasis. The leading tone here is jumping down just to allow this chord to be complete. But that's typical for a dominant function too. That leading tone is still a leading tone. The only odd guy is this 3 in the melody. And what was I listening to? I was listening to Winterize It, and there was one of these happening in one of the songs. I forget the name right now. But it's going on way back with Schubert, and he did this progression right here. It's 3/6 to a 1 chord. And here, this 3 chord is serving a dominant function. Listen to each one of those. This probably reminds you of a load of songs. And let's see, somewhere that same progression happens a lot. And then this other example where it's a 3/6. And remember this one when you have a 3. Now we're really used to adding something like that on this stencil here. And that makes it really obvious that it's a dominant. I added a 7th of the bass. That changes it. But because this is so akin to that sound, that 3/6 is serving as a dominant, moving to that 1.